Alright YouTube, so we are back again with some more Fallout 76 info, another edition of a grown-ass man stalking another grown-ass man's Twitter. What is my life at this point? In today's video we learned about item respawn rates, we learned that you can actually rejoin games, which is pretty new information. We got an update on the bounties and that it actually does follow you around until it's collected, and of course weapon and armor level requirements. This isn't really new information, but we got a little bit of confirmation on this. So we're going to hop on the level requirement thing first. This person, Pete's tweet Hines. They ask Peter Hines, do weapons and armor in Fallout 76 have level restrictions, or can you use them at any level? To which he replies, there are some of each that require you to be a certain level. Now this is something we've known about since the No-Clip documentary. We've seen a weapon on one of the screens that actually has a level to it, and we've seen this with the guitar sword. But to the best of my knowledge, I guess they've never actually straight up said, yes, certain weapons are going to require certain levels. So I guess this is a little more confirmation on that, but a majority of us already assumed that that's what those levels meant. Next up, and we don't even need to put an example on screen because there's like 1,000 of them, a lot of people ask Pete Hines if they're going to need PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold to play this game online. Obviously, guys, yes. I know everybody's argument is like, well, there's certain games out there that don't require it. Yeah, certain games. A majority of them do require it. I just find it kind of funny because people ask Pete Hines like some of the most obvious questions. We've had other people ask him multiple times if they can play with people in other countries, which is a strange one because I think just about every multiplayer online game allows you to play with people all over the world. I don't know. So Jacob asked Pete, hey Pete, theoretical question. If I were to loot a house, back out of the game / application, and reload, would the house be relootable? To which he replies, no, it's not dependent on you. It's set inside the world and things wouldn't respawn for several hours. No, I'm not telling you how many. So before we even get into that, I don't know why he's being discreet about it. Like, why can't you tell us what the respawn rates are for the items, like specifically, like the amount of time? Why do you gotta like keep it hidden how many hours it takes for stuff to respawn? But yeah, I think this means specifically for you, because once you loot like a container, that container's empty for you. So for you, it's going to take however many hours for it to respawn, because obviously loot is instant, at least with containers and like enemies and such. Like the loot's different for every single person. Now loot around the world sitting on tables and shelves, that's first come first serve. So I'm not sure if that type of loot's going to have the same respawn rate. Presumably, I guess it probably will, but I don't know. From here, he responds to a different tweet that's addressing the loot stuff we just looked at that says, that doesn't make sense. If we back out of the game, those 23 people will have a new 24th person by the time I reconnect. Thus, the house should be relootable because I will be with 23 new people. Your answer essentially states I'm competing with every player worldwide for loot. He responds with, you are for things placed in the world, you aren't for containers. I guess the answer is maybe. For the players still in the game, it won't have reset. For you, I guess it depends. You can rejoin the same instance you were in, e.g. play with a friend, drop, and then rejoin them. So Pete's response is that maybe if you were to leave a game and come back to the exact same game, the loot containers might be refilled, and I think the person makes a good point, because if you do leave the world and come back, you respawn back in, I would assume that the containers would respawn loot, because it kind of would make sense that it remembers you forever and ever. But my main takeaway from this is the ability to rejoin the same instance, because this is something we haven't heard thus far in the game, because we've been hearing that, they're not tied to servers, and, it's just like any other multiplayer game. When you start a new session, you're going to be in a completely different lobby with people you've probably never even seen before and never will see again. But in case you were in like a good lobby with people who aren't griefing you or trolling you, and like say your internet drops for whatever reason, you get kicked from the session, 1,000 things can happen, you can actually rejoin that same instance again, so I think that's pretty good. The gist of this person's question was, is there any restrictions on what they were allowed to capture at this event? To which he replies, they played for 3 hours, the whole game was available, and we told them they could do whatever they wanted in the time they had. I think the majority of us knew that there were no restrictions on the gameplay. It's not like Bethesda was, hey guys, you can't go to the Cranberry Bog, you better stay away from there and not capture gameplay. Like, you could capture whatever you wanted. What I find interesting is that they were allowed to capture upwards of 3 hours of gameplay, man. We're going to get a ton of just information in this next coming week. With the amount of people that went there and the amount of gameplay they were allowed to capture, you can expect pretty much anything from early game content, because 3 hours isn't that long. You won't see anything from mid to late game, unless somebody just took their 3 hours and was like, I'm going to travel to the Cranberry Bog to capture gameplay. I want to be one of the only guys that has that gameplay. We might see some people like that who decided to just traverse the map like crazy. That would be kind of cool too. In all honesty, if I went to this event, I would have done that. I would have played for maybe the first hour and a half, doing actual gameplay stuff, building things, kind of capturing all the gist of the game. But then I would have spent a good majority of my game time exploring the map and capturing gameplay in some of the high-level zones, because who else would have that right now? So this radical bro wearing sunglasses indoors asks Pete Hines, if player murders someone and they gain a bounty, does that bounty stay on them if they switch shards? Which has got to be a term from a different video game. I understand what he means, but I've never heard the term shards. Pete replies with, there is no such thing as shards, it stays until someone claims it. I wanted to put this in a video because last time we talked about this, Pete Hines wasn't sure, because he said something along the lines of, I'm not sure that it ever does go away. And in this one, he's definitively saying that it follows you until it is claimed. This is a good anti-griefing thing. We know all the other things that happen if you murder another player, all the other things, all the punishments you get. But this is a good one because it's like you have to make that decision, okay? If I murder another player, I'm going to get wanted, I'm going to get all these other punishments, and it's going to follow me around until it is claimed. That's a good thing, I think. And lastly, this is almost non-news, but pretty much everybody that got to go to this event and play the game and capture gameplay have been saying nothing but positive stuff about this, and it's not me trying to attack them or talk shit about them, but let's be honest here. Of course they had a good time. They got presumably a paid-for trip to come to an exclusive event to play a game that's not out yet, that nobody outside of Bethesda's really even played, captured 3 hours of gameplay in a location that is from the game. Of course they had a good time. And look, I'm not trying to claim that they're kissing Bethesda's ass or holding this over their head. It's just a tweet. They're just tweeting out that they had a good time playing Fallout 76. I'm sure that they did. I'm on the spectrum of I think the game will be a great game. Really, we need to be on the lookout for Monday when they're allowed to upload this gameplay, because I presume that a lot of people's first videos for this will be either like their first impressions, their first thoughts, a review or something along the lines of that. Will probably be the Monday videos. You also got to remember that when Maddie says that Fallout 76 is a very good game, he also thought that Fallout 4 was a near perfect game, so take from that what you will. Anyways, guys, that's the info roundup for today for Fallout 76. And I want to thank everybody for 10,000 subscribers. If you guys didn't know, we already broke 10,000. I put out a video called Journey to 10,000, channel retrospective. If you want to check it out, it's kind of the journey so far for the channel and what got me into Bethesda. And as always, if you guys went on to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid, at my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit acting like a baby, or at least less like